This one is truly a woman worthy of you, my son." "A perfect Christmas at last," says Sebastian's mother, smiling at his new fiancée as she hangs an ornament on the tree. Sebastian raises his glass of mulled wine and toasts to a future without the mistakes of the past. The moment their glasses clink, the sound of the mansion's doorbell echoes loud and clear, cutting through the Christmas music. What they don't know is that on the other side of that door isn't a delivery man with gifts, but the bride Sebastian humiliated at the altar. And she's brought with her 4 Christmas presents he will never be able to ignore. But before we see this Christmas feast turn into a nightmare for them, tell me where you're watching from and what time it is there. Now hit that subscribe button and let's dive into the full story. "I think you're hanging that picture too high for the children to see," a deep voice said from behind Emma. "Unless you're trying to make the parents feel important instead." Emma Wilson turned around, still holding the colorful finger painting created by her kindergarten students. She came face to face with a tall man in an expensive suit who seemed out of place among the construction paper decorations of Parkside Elementary School's annual spring gala. "The children are proud of their work," Emma replied. "They should be able to see it at their eye level. You're absolutely right." She stepped down from her small ladder and repositioned the painting lower on the wall. The man smiled, revealing perfect white teeth. "I'm Tyler Harrison," he said, extending his hand. "My company donated the new playground equipment. I came to see how the fundraiser was going." Emma wiped her slightly paint-stained hand on her simple blue dress before shaking his. "Emma Wilson, I teach kindergarten here. Thank you for the donation. The children love the new swings." Tyler Harrison. Even Emma recognized the name. The Harrisons owned half of Greenwich with luxury properties throughout Connecticut. What was he doing talking to her? "Would you like some punch?" Tyler asked. "I think we both deserve a break. You've been hanging artwork for the past half hour." "You've been watching me for that long?" Emma asked, surprised. Tyler's cheeks turned slightly pink. "Not in a strange way, I promise. I was just admiring how carefully you placed each picture." The school gymnasium buzzed with activity as wealthy parents examined silent auction items. Emma felt out of place among them on a normal day, but especially beside Tyler Harrison in his tailored suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. "1 cup of punch," she agreed. "Then I need to finish setting up before the parents arrive." They walked to the refreshment table, where Tyler poured 2 cups of bright red punch. "So, Ms. Wilson, how long have you been teaching at Parkside?" Tyler asked. 5 years, and please call me Emma." "And do you live in Greenwich?" Emma laughed. "On a teacher's salary?" "Number. I have a small apartment about 20 minutes away, nothing like what you're probably used to." Tyler didn't seem offended by her directness. "I grew up with a lot of advantages," he admitted. "But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate people who work hard for what they have." Their conversation flowed easily as Emma shared stories about her students and Tyler talked about his family's business. Before she realized it, 45 minutes had passed. "Oh no," Emma said, checking her watch. "Parents will be arriving in 15 minutes and I haven't finished setting up the art display." "Let me help you," Tyler offered, removing his suit jacket and rolling up his sleeves. Emma was surprised to see the heir to Harrison Luxury Properties hanging children's artwork, but he worked efficiently beside her until everything was perfect. "Thank you," Emma said when they finished. "You didn't have to do that." "I wanted to," Tyler replied. "And I was wondering if you might want to have dinner with me tomorrow night?" Emma stared at him. "Dinner? With you? Is that so surprising?" "Honestly, yes," Emma said. "People like you don't usually ask out kindergarten teachers." Tyler's expression grew serious. "What do you mean, people like me?" "You know exactly what I mean. You probably have supermodels and socialites lining up to date you." "Maybe I'm tired of dating people who only care about my family name or bank account," Tyler said quietly. "Maybe I'd like to have dinner with someone real for a change." 2 weeks later, Emma sat across from Tyler at the Blue Harbor, Greenwich's most exclusive restaurant. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and waiters in formal attire moved silently between tables. "Everyone is staring at us," Emma whispered, feeling underdressed despite wearing her best dress. "They're staring because you're beautiful," Tyler said, taking her hand across the table. Emma shook her head. "They're wondering what you're doing with someone like me." "Then let them wonder," Tyler replied with a smile. "I'm exactly where I want to be." Over the next few months, Tyler introduced Emma to his world of charity galas and country club events. In return, Emma showed him simple pleasures he'd never experienced: farmers' markets on Sunday mornings, hiking through nature preserves, and volunteering at the community center. On a warm Saturday in September, Tyler visited Emma's small apartment for the first time. He tried to hide his surprise at its modest size, but Emma noticed his expression. "Not what you expected?" she asked as she prepared coffee in her tiny kitchen. "It's nice," Tyler said quickly. Emma laughed. "It's small and old, but it's all I can afford." "You don't have to pretend." Tyler looked embarrassed. "I'm sorry. I just want you to have nice things." "I do have nice things," Emma said. "Maybe not expensive things, but things that matter to me." She showed him her collection of children's books, photographs of her students over the years, and handmade gifts they had given her. "You've created a real home here," Tyler said, understanding in his eyes. The following Sunday, Emma finally met Tyler's parents at their mansion for brunch. The Harrison estate was exactly as intimidating as she had imagined. Sprawling gardens, marble floors, and antiques that probably cost more than she would earn in a decade. Patricia Harrison, Tyler's mother, greeted Emma with a cool smile that didn't reach her eyes. "So you're the teacher Tyler has been spending time with," Patricia said, examining Emma from head to toe. "How refreshing." William Harrison, Tyler's father, was warmer, shaking Emma's hand firmly. "Tyler tells me you're a wonderful teacher. We need more dedicated educators like you." Throughout brunch, Patricia made subtle comments about Emma's quaint career and modest background. When Emma mentioned growing up in New Hampshire as the daughter of a librarian and science teacher, Patricia nearly choked on her mimosa. "Teaching runs in the family, then?" Patricia asked. "How consistent?" Tyler placed his hand on Emma's knee under the table. "Emma is one of the most respected teachers at Parkside. The school principal told me they wish they could clone her." "I'm sure she's very good with children," Patricia said dismissively. "More coffee, anyone?" After brunch, Tyler showed Emma around the gardens, apologizing for his mother's behavior. "She'll warm up to you," he promised. "She's just protective." "She thinks I'm not good enough for you," Emma said plainly. "Then she doesn't see what I see," Tyler replied, pulling her close for a kiss. Over the following months, Patricia's disapproval became more obvious. She forgot to set a place for Emma at family dinners. She excluded Emma from conversations about people Emma didn't know. Once, she even spilled red wine on Emma's dress at a charity gala. "I'm so clumsy," Patricia had said without a hint of remorse. That dress probably needed replacing anyway. Despite Patricia's efforts, Tyler and Emma's relationship grew stronger. They spent weekends at a bed and breakfast in Vermont, volunteered together at the Greenwich Community Center, and created their own traditions apart from the Harrison social circle. On a crisp October evening, Tyler took Emma to Todd's Point Beach. They walked along the shore as the sun began to set, turning the sky brilliant shades of orange and pink. "This is where I came as a boy when I needed to think," Tyler said. "It's always been my special place." He stopped walking and turned to face Emma. Before she realized what was happening, Tyler was down on one knee in the sand holding a small velvet box. "Emma Wilson, this past year has shown me what really matters in life. Not money or status, but love and kindness and being with someone who makes me a better person. Will you marry me?" He opened the box to reveal an antique diamond ring. Emma gasped. "It was my grandmother's," Tyler explained. "Dad helped me convince Mom to let me have it for you." Tears filled Emma's eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I'll marry you." As Tyler slipped the ring onto her finger and stood to kiss her, Emma pushed away the small voice in her head that wondered if she would ever truly be accepted into Tyler's world. For now, his love was enough. Emma tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, looking at the diamond ring that sparkled on her finger. 2 months had passed since Tyler's proposal at Todd's Point Beach, and wedding plans were moving quickly. Patricia had insisted on a June wedding at historic St. Mary's Church in Greenwich, with 300 guests. Emma sat on the edge of her bathtub, staring at the plastic stick in her hands. 2 pink lines. The 3rd pregnancy test showed the same result as the first 2. She was pregnant. "Oh my goodness," Emma whispered to herself. She placed a protective hand over her still flat stomach. A baby. Their baby. She had suspected for a week now. The morning sickness, the tiredness, her missed period. Emma had always wanted children, but she hadn't planned on starting a family quite this soon. Tyler would be happy, wouldn't he? They had talked about having children someday. This was just happening sooner than expected. Emma decided to plan a special dinner to share the news. She made a reservation at the Blue Harbor where they had their first official date. She even called ahead to request their original table by the window overlooking the water. That evening, Emma arrived early to make sure everything was perfect. She had placed a small bouquet of baby's breath flowers in the center of the table. The manager had helped her arrange for Tyler's favorite meal to be prepared. When Tyler walked in, Emma stood up to greet him with a kiss. "What's the special occasion?" Tyler asked, looking at the flowers. "Can't I just want a nice dinner with my fiancé?" Emma replied, smiling. Throughout the appetizer, Emma practiced the words in her head. When their main course arrived, she took a deep breath and reached for Tyler's hand across the table. "Tyler, I have something important to tell you," Emma said. "I found out something wonderful today." Tyler looked up from his plate. "What is it?" "I'm pregnant. We're going to have a baby." Emma watched Tyler's face, waiting for his reaction. For a moment, he didn't speak. The smile she expected didn't appear. "You're pregnant?" he finally asked. "Are you sure?" "Yes, I took 3 tests, all positive." Tyler put down his fork and sat back in his chair. "That's unexpected." "I know the timing isn't perfect with the wedding in 2 weeks, but I thought you'd be happy," Emma said, her voice smaller now. "I am," Tyler said quickly, but his eyes didn't match his words. "It's just a surprise, that's all." He reached for his water glass and took a long drink. "How far along are you?" he asked. "About 6 weeks, I think. I'll need to see a doctor to confirm." Tyler nodded and attempted a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "We should celebrate, right? Waiter, can we have a bottle of sparkling water?" The rest of dinner passed in awkward conversation. Tyler asked appropriate questions about how Emma was feeling, but something had changed. The excitement she had anticipated wasn't there. Over the next few days, Tyler grew increasingly distant. He canceled their final cake tasting appointment. He missed a meeting with the florist. When Emma called, he often didn't answer, and when he did, the conversations were short. 5 days after she had shared her news, Emma drove to the Harrison mansion, determined to understand what was happening. As she parked in the circular driveway, she saw Patricia's car and hesitated. She hadn't planned on facing her future mother-in-law today. Before Emma could reach the front door, Patricia opened it. "Emma, what a surprise," Patricia said coldly. "Tyler isn't here. Do you know where he is? He's not answering my calls." Patricia stepped outside, closing the door behind her. Perhaps he needs some space. This wedding is happening very quickly. "Is something wrong? Has he said anything to you?" Emma asked. Patricia's expression softened with what looked like sympathy, but something in her eyes remained hard. "Come sit with me on the terrace," Patricia said. "I've just made some tea." Emma followed Patricia around the side of the house to the stone terrace overlooking the manicured gardens. They sat at a glass table where a silver tea service waited. "Tyler is concerned," Patricia said as she poured tea into delicate cups. "The timing of certain developments has raised questions." Emma's stomach tightened. "You mean the baby?" "Yes, the baby. Quite a convenient time to discover you're pregnant, isn't it? 2 weeks before the wedding." "Convenient? There's nothing convenient about mourning sickness while trying to finalize wedding details," Emma said sharply. Patricia smiled thinly. "My dear, you must understand how this looks. Tyler is heir to a considerable fortune. It wouldn't be the first time a woman has tried to secure her position." Emma stood up so quickly her chair scraped against the stone. "The baby is Tyler's. I have never been with anyone else. How dare you suggest—" "I'm simply sharing my son's concerns," Patricia interrupted. "He came to me quite upset after your dinner announcement." Emma felt like the ground was shifting beneath her feet. "Tyler thinks I'm lying about the baby being his? He has questions, natural questions, given the circumstances." That evening, Emma left 6 voicemails for Tyler. He finally called back near midnight. "We need to talk," Emma said immediately. "Your mother says you think I'm lying about the baby." Tyler sighed heavily. "I don't know what to think, Emma. The timing is just strange." "Strange? Tyler, we've been together for over a year. We're engaged. Sometimes people get pregnant. It happens." "I just need some time to process everything," Tyler said. "The wedding is in 9 days. What is there to process?" "Maybe we should postpone the wedding?" Emma interrupted, her voice rising. "Tyler, what's really going on?" "I need to be sure, Emma. About everything." The next week passed in a blur of pain and confusion. Tyler missed the final suit fitting. He didn't come to the meeting with the minister. Emma's calls went straight to voicemail. The night before the wedding, the rehearsal dinner was scheduled at the Greenwich Country Club. Emma arrived early, her stomach in knots. When Tyler finally showed up 30 minutes late, he barely looked at her. During dinner, Tyler sat at the opposite end of the long table, engaged in conversation with his college friends. Emma excused herself to the ladies' room, where she broke down in tears. The bathroom door opened, and Patricia entered. "Oh, Emma," she said, offering a handkerchief. "This is all so difficult, isn't it?" Emma took the handkerchief and wiped her eyes. "Why are you doing this? Why turn Tyler against me?" "I'm just protecting my son from making a mistake he'll regret," Patricia said simply. "You were never right for him. Surely you realized that." The morning of June 15th dawned bright and clear. Emma sat in the bridal suite of St. Mary's Church, staring at her reflection in the mirror as her friend Sarah arranged her veil. "Everything will be fine once you see Tyler at the altar," Sarah assured her. "Men get nervous before weddings." But Emma had noticed the way Tyler's best man avoided eye contact when he delivered a message that Tyler was running late. She had seen the whispers among the bridesmaids. When it was time, Emma stood at the back of the church. 300 guests filled the pews, turning to watch as she began her walk down the aisle in her lace wedding gown. Patricia sat in the front row, a satisfied smile on her face. Emma's hands trembled around her bouquet as she approached the altar where Tyler waited, his face unreadable. When she reached him, instead of taking her hands, he turned to face the gathered guests. "I can't do this," Tyler announced, his voice echoing in the sudden silence. "I can't marry someone I don't trust." Gasps filled the church. Emma felt her heart stop. "Tyler," she whispered, "what are you doing?" "I know what you're trying to do," he continued, speaking to the crowd more than to her. "That baby isn't mine, and I won't be trapped by lies." The room spun around Emma. Tears blurred her vision as whispers erupted throughout the church. She looked at Patricia, who watched with that same satisfied smile. Without a word, Emma turned and ran down the aisle, past the shocked faces of the guests, out the heavy wooden doors of St. Mary's Church, and into the bright June sunshine that now felt like a cruel joke. 3 hours later, Emma had packed everything she could fit into 2 suitcases. She left her engagement ring on the kitchen counter of her small apartment along with the keys. Her friend Sarah drove her to the train station. "Where will you go?" Sarah asked, helping with the luggage. "As far from Greenwich as possible," Emma answered, one hand protectively covering her stomach. "Somewhere I can start over. Somewhere no one knows my name or my story." As the train pulled away from the station, Emma didn't look back at the town that had once held such promise. She had no way of knowing that her escape from Greenwich would lead her not just to a new beginning, but to a life more complicated and ultimately more fulfilling than she could have imagined. The train ride across the country gave Emma 3 days to think. She needed a place far away from Greenwich, somewhere no one would look for her. She had researched cities online using her phone, and Portland, Oregon seemed perfect, all the way across the country with a reputation for being welcoming to newcomers. When Emma stepped off the train at Portland's Union Station, she felt the weight of exhaustion from the long journey. With her 2 suitcases, she made her way to a nearby hotel for the night. The next morning, she began her search for a place to live. "I'm looking for a 1-bedroom apartment," Emma told the rental agent. "Something affordable in a nice neighborhood." The agent, a woman named Jill, scrolled through listings on her computer. "The Alberta Arts District might be perfect for you. It's colorful, creative, and has good bus lines." 3 days later, Emma signed a lease for a small apartment on a tree-lined street. The space was tiny but clean, with tall windows that let in plenty of light. As she paid the deposit, she felt a strange mix of sadness and hope. "I'm starting over," she told the landlord as he handed her the keys. "Everyone in Portland is starting over from somewhere else," he replied with a kind smile. Emma used her savings to furnish the apartment with just the basics: a bed, a small table with 2 chairs, and a comfortable used couch. She found part-time work grading papers for an online education company, which allowed her to work from home as her pregnancy progressed. One afternoon, while struggling up the stairs with groceries, Emma met her neighbor. "Let me help you with those," said an older woman with silver hair, taking one of the bags. "Thank you," Emma said, breathing heavily from the exertion. "I'm not as energetic as I used to be." "I'm Barbara Thompson," the woman said, "retired elementary school principal, and you're clearly expecting." Emma smiled. "Emma Wilson. Yes, about 14 weeks along now." Barbara helped Emma to her door. "Well, if you need anything, I'm right next door. Being pregnant far from family can't be easy." Emma didn't correct Barbara's assumption that she had family somewhere else. Instead, she simply thanked her for the help. As the weeks passed, Barbara became a regular visitor, bringing over homemade soup or fresh bread, checking on Emma and offering friendship without prying questions. Emma was grateful for the support, especially as her body changed and the reality of single motherhood loomed. At 20 weeks, Emma went to Providence Portland Medical Center for her ultrasound appointment. The technician moved the wand over Emma's growing belly, then paused with a surprised expression. "Ms. Wilson, have you had an ultrasound before this?" "No," Emma replied, suddenly worried. "Is something wrong with my baby?" The technician smiled. "Not wrong, but I need to get the doctor." Minutes later, a doctor entered the room and took over the ultrasound. She moved the wand carefully, counting aloud. "Ms. Wilson, you're carrying quadruplets. 4 babies." Emma stared at the screen in shock. "4? Did you say 4 babies?" "Yes, 4 separate heartbeats. 4 babies." The room seemed to spin around Emma. 1 baby as a single mother would be challenging enough. 4 seemed impossible. "This changes your prenatal care significantly," the doctor explained. "Multiple births carry higher risks. We'll need to see you more frequently, and you should prepare for possible bed rest in the later stages." Emma left the hospital in a daze. She sat on a bench outside trying to absorb the news. 4 babies. When she finally arrived home, Barbara was watering plants in the hallway. "Emma, are you okay?" "You look pale," Barbara said. "I just found out I'm having quadruplets," Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. Barbara's eyes widened. "Goodness, come inside. We need to talk." Over tea in Barbara's apartment, Emma's shock turned to fear. "How can I possibly manage 4 babies on my own? 1 crib, 1 car seat, 1 of everything was already stretching my budget," Emma said. Barbara reached for Emma's hand. "You're not alone. I'm right next door. And there are resources for multiple births, support groups, assistance programs." The following week, Emma joined an online meeting with the Portland Multiples Support Group. The parents on the screen shared advice about schedules, discounts, and surviving those first months. "The most important thing is to accept help when it's offered," said a tired-looking mother of twins. "Your pride isn't worth your sanity." As Emma's pregnancy progressed, her doctor ordered bed rest at 28 weeks. Barbara became Emma's lifeline, bringing groceries, helping with laundry, and keeping her company. "We need to prepare your apartment," Barbara said one day. 4 babies need a lot of space." Together, they rearranged the small apartment. Emma's dining table was pushed against a wall to make room for a changing station in the living room. Barbara found a second-hand crib and helped set it up beside Emma's bed. Then, at 32 weeks, Emma woke in the night with sharp pains. "Barbara!" she called, knocking on her neighbor's door at 3 in the morning. "I think I'm in labor." Barbara drove Emma to the hospital, where doctors confirmed she was indeed in labor. Despite efforts to stop it, Emma's children were determined to arrive early. "We need to perform a C-section," the doctor told Emma as nurses prepared her for surgery. "The babies are in distress." Emma lay on the operating table, terrified and alone except for Barbara, who had been allowed to stay with her. "You can do this," Barbara whispered, holding Emma's hand. Within 20 minutes, all 4 babies were delivered, 3 girls and a boy. Each tiny infant was whisked away to the neonatal intensive care unit. "They're very small, but their vital signs are good," a nurse assured Emma. "They'll need to stay in the NICU for a while." The next day, when Emma was stable enough, a nurse wheeled her to the NICU to see her children. 4 tiny bodies lay in separate incubators, connected to monitors and tubes. "Have you thought of names?" the nurse asked. Emma nodded. "Lily, Lucy, Lucas, and Logan Wilson." For 3 weeks, Emma divided her time between recovering from her C-section and sitting beside her babies in the NICU. She learned to change diapers the size of playing cards and to feed her children through tubes at first, then from tiny bottles. Emma's parents flew in from New Hampshire when they heard the news. They stayed for a month, helping to bring the babies home one by one as they grew strong enough to leave the hospital. "We wish we could stay longer," her mother said tearfully when they had to return to their jobs. "Call us any time, day or night." The first night alone with all 4 babies was the hardest. Emma had created a military precision schedule posted on her refrigerator, tracking each feeding, diaper change, and medication. 2 hours of sleep at a time is better than none, Emma told herself as she moved from crib to crib, soothing hungry babies. Days blended into nights. Emma existed in a fog of exhaustion, moving on autopilot through feedings and diaper changes. Barbara checked in daily, sometimes taking 2 babies for an hour so Emma could shower or nap. When the quadruplets were 4 months old, Emma discovered an unexpected hobby during late-night feedings: sewing. Using discount fabric and a second-hand sewing machine Barbara had found, Emma began creating matching outfits for her babies. One sunny day when the quadruplets were 7 months old, Emma took them to Peninsula Park. She had gotten skilled at managing the double stroller she'd found secondhand with 2 babies in front and 2 in carriers on her chest. "Those outfits are adorable," said a woman who stopped beside Emma's bench. "Where did you find matching clothes for quadruplets?" I made them, Emma replied, adjusting Lucy's hat. The woman looked impressed. I'm Diane Wilson. I own a children's boutique on Hawthorne Boulevard. Would you ever consider selling your designs? Emma laughed. I just make them at night when I can't sleep. I'm not a real designer. These are better than half the clothes I stock, Diane insisted, handing Emma a business card. Think about it. That night, as Emma sewed a set of pajamas for the babies, she considered Diane's suggestion. With Barbara's encouragement, she set up an Etsy shop called 4 Little Blessings, using photos of her quadruplets wearing her creations. Your babies are the perfect models, Barbara said as she helped photograph the infants in their matching outfits. For the first month, Emma sold only a few items. Then a popular mommy blogger discovered her shop and featured the quadruplets in their handmade clothes. These adorable quads from Portland are wearing the sweetest handmade outfits created by their supermom, the blog post read. Overnight, Emma's shop orders multiplied. Soon she was sewing during every nap time, creating new designs as quickly as her hands could work. I think you might have accidentally started a business, Barbara said, as she helped Emma package her 10th order of the day. Emma looked at her 4 babies, now crawling and babbling on a playmat in the living room. They were dressed in matching blue outfits she had sewn last week. I guess I did, Emma replied. 4 Little Blessings might just support 5 little Wilsons after all. 2 years passed quickly. Emma's 4 Little Blessings business had grown from a small Etsy shop into a successful online store with customers across the country. She had hired 2 part-time seamstresses to help with production and converted her garage into a workshop filled with fabric, sewing machines, and shipping supplies. The success allowed Emma to move her family from the small apartment to a more spacious rental home in Portland's Selwood neighborhood. The 2-story house had a fenced backyard where the quadruplets, now toddlers, could play safely. On a bright spring morning, Emma watched her children through the kitchen window as they explored the backyard. At 2 years old, they were already showing distinct personalities. "Lily, be careful with that flower," Emma called as her most artistic child plucked petals from a daisy, studying them with intense concentration. Lucy, always the talker, chattered to her siblings as she organized a pretend tea party on the small plastic table. "Sit here, Logan. Tea is ready." Logan, the most athletic of the 4, ignored her invitation and continued climbing on the small playground set Emma had found secondhand. Meanwhile, Lucas sat alone, methodically stacking blocks and counting each one aloud. The doorbell rang, interrupting Emma's observations. She hurried to answer it, finding an older woman with kind eyes and silver-streaked black hair standing on her porch. "Hello, I'm Maria Gonzalez," the woman said with a slight accent. "I'm here about the childcare position." Emma welcomed her in. "Thank you for coming, Maria. As I mentioned on the phone, I need help with my quadruplets while I run my business." Maria nodded. 4 little ones is a big job. I was a pediatric nurse for 30 years before I retired. I miss being around children." They walked to the backyard where the quadruplets played. The children looked up curiously at the newcomer. "Children, this is Ms. Maria," Emma said. "She might be helping us out sometimes." Lucy immediately ran to Maria. "Hi, I'm Lucy, I'm 2. This is my brother Lucas and my sister Lily and my brother Logan. We're all 2. Maria laughed, kneeling to Lucy's level despite her age. "It's very nice to meet you, Lucy. That's a beautiful doll you have." "I made it," Emma explained. "I make children's clothes for my business." Maria spent the morning observing the children and helping Emma with their routine. By lunchtime, even shy Lily had warmed up to her, showing her a drawing of what might have been a butterfly. After the children were napping, Emma and Maria sat at the kitchen table. "They're wonderful children," Maria said. "Very well behaved for 2-year-olds. "They're my whole world," Emma replied. "But running the business and caring for them alone has become too much. I need help." "I would be honored to help care for them," Maria said. "When would you like me to start?" The following weeks established a new routine. Maria arrived each morning at 8 o'clock. allowing Emma to work in her garage workshop while the children played under Maria's watchful eye. The arrangement gave Emma the time she needed to grow her business, which now included orders from several small boutiques across the country. One evening, after Maria had gone home, Emma was tucking the quadruplets into bed. They had graduated from cribs to small toddler beds arranged along two walls of their shared bedroom. "Story time," Emma announced, holding up a picture book. As she read about a family of rabbits, Lucas suddenly interrupted. "Mommy, where's our daddy?" Emma froze. She had known this question would come eventually but hadn't prepared for it so soon. "Why do you ask, Lucas?" she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Tommy at the park has a daddy. He plays ball with him. We don't have a daddy." The other children were now listening intently. Emma closed the book and took a deep breath. "Your daddy lives far away," she said carefully. "Sometimes families are different. Some have a mommy and daddy together. Some have just a mommy like us." "Why doesn't he live with us?" Lucas persisted. "Because sometimes grown-ups make different choices," Emma replied, unsure how much a 2-year-old could understand. "But I love you all enough for 2 parents." Lucy seemed satisfied with this answer and asked for the story to continue. Logan was already half asleep, but Lucas stared at Emma with Tyler's analytical eyes, clearly not finished with the topic. Later that night, Emma sat alone at her kitchen table, tears streaming down her face. Lucas's question had reopened wounds she thought had healed. The children deserved to know their father, but Tyler had made his choice clear that day in the church. Meanwhile, 3,000 miles away in Greenwich, Connecticut, Tyler Harrison stood at the window of his corner office, overlooking the city skyline. Harrison Luxury Properties had expanded significantly under his leadership, with new developments in Boston, New York, and Philadelphia. "The Philadelphia contract is ready for your signature," his assistant said, placing a folder on his desk. Tyler nodded absently, his mind elsewhere. He had been having trouble sleeping lately, plagued by dreams of Emma and the child he had publicly rejected. In quiet moments, doubt crept in about his mother's certainty that Emma had lied to him. His phone buzzed with a text from his mother. "Don't forget dinner tonight. Vanessa will be there." Tyler sighed. For the past year, his mother had been pushing him toward a relationship with Vanessa Miller, the daughter of her best friend. Vanessa was everything Patricia thought suitable: wealthy, socially connected, and from an established Greenwich family. That evening, Tyler arrived at the Greenwich Country Club for dinner with his parents and Vanessa. The blonde woman greeted him with a practiced smile. "Tyler, I was just telling your mother about the charity auction I'm organizing," Vanessa said as they sat at the Harrisons' regular table. Patricia beamed at them. "Vanessa has raised more money for the hospital than anyone in the committee's history." "That's wonderful," Tyler replied automatically, taking a sip of his water. The conversation continued around him as Tyler participated with minimal effort. Vanessa was attractive and intelligent, but something was missing. He felt nothing when she touched his hand across the table, nothing when she laughed at his half-hearted jokes. After dinner, Tyler's father pulled him aside in the club's library. "Son, are you happy?" William Harrison asked directly. Tyler was surprised by the question. "Of course. Business is booming. The Boston project is ahead of schedule." "I'm not asking about business," William said. "I'm asking about you." "I'm fine, Dad." William shook his head. "You haven't been fine since that wedding day." "Your mother and we may have been wrong about Emma." Tyler stiffened. "That's ancient history." "Is it? You don't eat. You don't sleep. You date Vanessa because your mother wants you to, not because you care for her." "I should get back to the table," Tyler said, avoiding the conversation. In another part of Greenwich, Emma's childhood friend, Sarah Matthews, was settling into her new apartment. After years in Chicago, Sarah had accepted a position at a Greenwich marketing firm, unaware that her new job would put her in proximity to people from Emma's past. On her second weekend in town, Sarah was shopping on Greenwich Avenue when she spotted a tall, handsome man exiting a jewelry store with a blonde woman. Something about him seemed familiar. "Isn't that Tyler Harrison?" asked a co-worker who had joined Sarah for the shopping trip. "His family owns half of Greenwich. That's his girlfriend, Vanessa Miller." Sarah froze, suddenly recognizing the man from photos Emma had shown her years ago. This was the man who had publicly humiliated her friend. "Do you know him?" Sarah asked casually. "Everyone knows the Harrisons," her co-worker replied. Although Tyler's reputation took a hit a few years back when he left some kindergarten teacher at the altar. Apparently, she tried to trap him with a fake pregnancy. At least, that's what his mother told everyone. Sarah's hands tightened around her shopping bag. Emma had never been dishonest a day in her life, and those quadruplets were living proof of whose story was true. "How interesting," Sarah said, watching Tyler and Vanessa walk down the street. "I'd love to hear more about the Harrisons." Over the next few weeks, Sarah became a sponge for Greenwich gossip. She heard about Patricia Harrison's influence in local society, about Tyler's apparent unhappiness despite his business success, and about the upcoming engagement everyone expected between Tyler and Vanessa. One afternoon, Sarah deliberately visited the salon where Patricia had her weekly hair appointment. Sitting in the next chair, she listened as Patricia discussed plans for a Christmas gala. "It will be the perfect time for Tyler and Vanessa to announce their engagement," Patricia told her stylist. "I've already spoken to the jeweler." Sarah left the salon with a heavy heart and a difficult decision to make. Should she contact Emma with what she had discovered? Would revealing the truth help her friend heal or only reopen painful wounds? That evening, Sarah stared at her phone for a long time before finally dialing Emma's number. "Sarah! How's Greenwich?" Emma answered cheerfully. "How's the new job?" Emma, there's something I need to tell you," Sarah said slowly. "It's about Tyler Harrison. I've learned some things you should know." Emma's fingers tightened around her phone as she listened to Sarah's hesitant voice. "What things?" Emma asked. "What about Tyler?" "I ran into him in Greenwich," Sarah explained. "He's with someone named Vanessa Miller. But Emma, that's not what's important. I've been hearing things about what happened between you two." Emma sank onto her couch. "Sarah, that's all in the past. I've built a new life here." "Patricia Harrison told everyone you faked your pregnancy to trap Tyler," Sarah said bluntly. "She poisoned him against you. I heard her talking at the salon about Tyler and Vanessa getting engaged at the Christmas gala." Emma closed her eyes, old pain washing over her. "It doesn't matter anymore. The children and I are happy here. Don't you think Tyler should know he has 4 children? Children who might ask about their father someday?" "They already have," Emma admitted. "Lucas asked just last week." After they hung up, Emma sat in silence, Sarah's words echoing in her mind. She had worked so hard to build a life without Tyler, to make peace with his rejection. Did she really want to disrupt that? The next morning, Emma was packaging orders in her garage workshop when her phone chimed with a notification. She glanced at the screen and gasped. Actress Megan Parker had posted a picture of her daughter wearing a 4 Little Blessings dress to her 20 million followers. "Where did you get this adorable dress?" The caption read. "At 4 Little Blessings makes the cutest children's clothes by a mom of quadruplets." Within hours, Emma's website crashed from too much traffic. Her phone rang constantly with boutique owners wanting to stock her designs. "This is amazing!" Maria exclaimed when Emma showed her the post. The children were napping, giving the women a rare, quiet moment. "What will you do?" "I need to expand," Emma said. "I can't keep working from my garage. I need a real production space, more help." The following week, Emma met with a bank officer, her business plan carefully prepared in a folder. "Your growth projections are impressive," the officer said, reviewing the documents. "And with this celebrity endorsement, I think we can approve a small business loan for your expansion." As summer ended, another milestone approached. The quadruplets were starting preschool at Selwood Community Center 3 mornings a week. "I big girl now," Lucy announced as Emma helped her into the new dress she had made for their first day. "Yes, you are," Emma agreed, brushing Lucy's hair. "All of you are getting so big." Emma walked the 4 children to the community center, holding hands with Lily and Logan while Lucy chattered excitedly and Lucas observed everything with serious eyes. "Welcome to Sunshine Room," said Ms. Jenkins, the lead teacher. "What beautiful children!" "These are my quadruplets," Emma explained. "Lucy, Lily, Lucas, and Logan." Ms. Jenkins knelt to greet each child but paused when she came to Lucas. She studied his face for a moment. "He looks so familiar," she said. "Those eyes remind me of someone I knew at Yale." The same serious expression. Emma's heart skipped a beat. "Oh? That's interesting." "Probably just my imagination," Ms. Jenkins smiled. "They're going to do great here." That evening, after tucking the children into bed, Emma found herself searching for Tyler online. Harrison Luxury Properties had been featured in Business Week, with a photo of Tyler cutting a ribbon at a new development in Boston. He looked successful but tired, his smile not reaching his eyes. 2 weeks later, Emma's new production facility was ready, a small warehouse space with room for 8 sewing machines, cutting tables, and shipping stations. She hired 4 more seamstresses and an assistant to manage orders. "You've created something special," Maria told her as they watched the new employees at work. Emma nodded. "I never planned this, but it's giving us stability. The children will have everything they need." But Sarah's revelation continued to bother Emma. Did Tyler deserve to know his children? Did the quadruplets deserve to know their father? She pushed these thoughts aside, focusing instead on her growing business and the children's adjustment to preschool. Then, in early November, Logan developed a fever in the middle of the night. "Mommy, my chest hurts," he whimpered as Emma took his temperature. 103, she read with alarm. "Let's get you some medicine." By morning, Logan's breathing was labored. Emma called Maria. "I need to take Logan to the doctor. Can you watch the others?" "Of course," Maria said. "Call me as soon as you know anything." The pediatrician listened to Logan's lungs and immediately sent them to the emergency room. "He has pneumonia," the doctor at Providence Portland Medical Center explained after examining Logan. "We need to admit him." Emma watched helplessly as nurses hooked her son to monitors and oxygen. Logan looked tiny in the hospital bed, his normally energetic body unnaturally still. "Ms. Wilson, we need some family medical history," a nurse said, clipboard in hand. "Any respiratory issues on either side of the family?" Emma hesitated. "I don't know about his father's side." "That's okay. Do you have any contact with the father? We might need genetic information." "No," Emma said quietly. "No contact." For 3 days, Emma barely left Logan's side. Maria brought the other children to visit briefly, their little faces worried as they saw their brother with tubes and wires. "Logan sick?" Lily asked, clutching her favorite stuffed animal. "Yes, but the doctors are making him better," Emma assured her. On the 4th day, Logan's fever finally broke. As he began to recover, Emma made a decision. She called Sarah. "I need to tell Tyler about the children," she said without preamble. "What changed your mind?" Sarah asked. "Logan's been in the hospital with pneumonia. The doctors needed medical history I couldn't provide. What if something serious happens someday? Something genetic? They deserve to know their father, and he should know them." After Logan was released from the hospital, Emma contacted a lawyer. "I need to establish paternity legally," she explained. "The father has never been involved, but that may change." The lawyer helped Emma prepare documentation, including birth certificates and DNA test results using samples from the children. "This proves they're quadruplets with identical DNA markers," the lawyer explained. "Once we get a sample from the father, we can prove paternity beyond doubt." Emma began preparing for the trip to Greenwich. She booked flights and a hotel for the week before Christmas. "We're going on an airplane?" Lucy asked excitedly when Emma told the children about their trip. "Yes, to a place called Connecticut." It's where Mommy used to live. Is that where our daddy is? Lucas asked, his sharp mind making connections. Emma knelt to look into his eyes, Tyler's eyes. Yes, Lucas, that's where your daddy lives. Will he want to meet us? Lily asked quietly. Emma hugged her shy daughter. I think he will once he meets you. Emma spent the next week gathering photos of the children from birth to present. Their first smiles, first steps, first words, all the moments Tyler had missed. She organized them in a folder along with the DNA documentation. The night before their flight, Maria came over to help Emma pack. Are you sure about this? Maria asked as they folded tiny outfits. No, Emma admitted, but I need to do it anyway. Not for me and not for Tyler, but for them. She gestured to the 4 sleeping children. What will you say to him? I've practiced 1,000 different speeches, Emma said, but when I see him, I'll probably forget every word. As Maria left, she hugged Emma tightly. Remember how strong you are. You've raised 4 children alone. You've built a business from nothing. You can face one man from your past. Early the next morning, Emma woke the quadruplets and dressed them in matching red and green outfits she had designed for the trip. Why do we have to match? Lucas complained. Because we're a team, Emma told him, straightening his little bow tie. And teams stick together. At Portland International Airport, Emma navigated security with 4 4-year-olds, earning sympathetic looks from other travelers. Stay together, she reminded them as they boarded the plane. Hold hands with your partner. As the plane took off, Emma clutched the envelope containing the DNA test results and family photos. In her purse was the address of the Harrison Mansion and information about the Christmas gala Sarah had provided. According to Sarah, the party would happen in 3 days. Emma took a deep breath looking at her 4 children. Lucy was already chatting with the passenger beside her. Logan was watching out the window with fascination. Lily was quietly coloring in her book, and Lucas was studying the safety card with intense concentration. They were Tyler's children too, and it was time he knew it. The flight from Portland to New York lasted 6 hours. Emma read books to the children, played simple games, and managed bathroom trips down the narrow airplane aisle. When they finally landed, she gathered their carry-on bags and led the quadruplets through the busy airport. Stay close, Emma reminded them as they waited for a taxi. Hold your partner's hand. The taxi driver raised his eyebrows when he saw Emma with 4 identical children. Delamar Greenwich Harbor Hotel, please, Emma said as she helped the children into the vehicle. The quadruplets pressed their faces against the windows as they drove through New York City and into Connecticut. Christmas decorations lit up the streets, and fresh snow covered the ground. Look at the big tree. Lucy pointed excitedly at a towering spruce decorated with thousands of lights. Is it Christmas here already? Logan asked, confused by the decorations. It's still 3 days until Christmas, Emma explained. People here just really like decorations. When they arrived at the hotel, the children stared wide-eyed at the elegant lobby with its crystal chandeliers and marble floors. Is this a castle? Lily whispered to Emma. No, sweetie, just a fancy hotel, Emma replied, checking them in at the front desk. Their suite had 2 bedrooms and a view of Long Island Sound. After the long journey, the children were tired and cranky. Emma ordered room service for dinner and tucked them into bed early. Tomorrow is a big day, she told them as she turned out the light. We all need to rest. But sleep eluded Emma. She stood by the window, looking out at the twinkling lights of Greenwich, the town she had fled 5 years ago with a broken heart and uncertain future. Now she was back, stronger but still afraid of what tomorrow would bring. Across town at the Harrison Mansion, Patricia supervised the staff as they transformed the grand ballroom for the annual Christmas gala. The floral arrangements need to be higher, she instructed, gesturing to a worker on a ladder. And make sure the crystal champagne flutes are used, not the regular ones. The mansion glowed with expensive decorations. A 20-foot Christmas tree dominated the foyer, decorated in silver and gold ornaments. garlands wrapped in white lights draped across the staircase and doorways. "This year's gala will be our most special yet," Patricia told the catering manager. "My son will be announcing his engagement." Meanwhile, Tyler stood in his childhood bedroom, staring at the small velvet box in his hand. Inside was a 5-carat diamond ring he had purchased for Vanessa, a ring he felt no excitement about giving. A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. William Harrison entered, looking distinguished in his smoking jacket. "Getting ready for the big announcement?" William asked, noticing the ring box. Tyler snapped it shut. "Yes, of course." William sat on the edge of the bed. "Son, I wanted to talk to you before tonight." "Dad, I know what you're going to say." "No, you don't," William interrupted. "I want to ask if this is what you really want. Marriage shouldn't be something you enter because it's expected." Tyler turned away, looking out the window at the snow-covered gardens. "Vanessa is perfect. She's everything Mother wanted for me. But is she what you want?" Before Tyler could answer, Patricia's voice called from the hallway. "Tyler!" "The photographer from Greenwich Life wants some pre-gala photos." William sighed. "Think about what I said, son. There's still time to change course." By 7 o'clock that evening, the Harrison mansion was filled with Greenwich's elite. 50 guests in formal attire mingled in the ballroom, drinking champagne and admiring the decorations. Vanessa Miller circulated confidently in a red designer gown, accepting early congratulations from those who suspected the evening's announcement. Tyler stood near the grand fireplace, mechanically greeting guests. He wore a black tuxedo with a red tie that Patricia had selected to match Vanessa's dress. His smile never reached his eyes. At 8 o'clock, Patricia tapped a spoon against her champagne glass to gather everyone's attention. "Welcome to our annual Christmas gala," she announced. "William and I are so delighted to have you all here. Later this evening, we have a special announcement to share." She looked meaningfully at Tyler, who nodded slightly before taking another sip of his drink. At the Delamar Hotel, Emma helped the quadruplets dress in their Christmas outfits. She had designed and made them herself. Red velvet dresses with white collars for the girls, and little red vests with green bow ties for the boys. "Why are we dressing up, Mommy?" Logan asked as Emma combed his hair. "We're going to meet someone important," Emma replied, her stomach tight with anxiety. "Our daddy?" Lucas asked directly. Emma nodded. "Yes, Lucas, your daddy and his family." "Will they like us?" Lily asked quietly, clutching her favorite stuffed rabbit. "They will love you," Emma assured her, hoping it was true. "How could anyone not love you?" She gathered the children's coats, hats, and gloves. The temperature had dropped and snow was falling gently outside. Emma checked her own appearance in the mirror. A simple green dress, her hair pulled back neatly. She took a deep breath, slipped the envelope with the DNA results into her purse, and led the children downstairs. "We need a taxi to 12 Maple Lane," she told the doorman, who quickly hailed a cab for them. As they approached the Harrison mansion, Emma's heart raced. Christmas lights illuminated the property and luxury cars lined the circular driveway. The taxi driver whistled. "Some party," he commented as they pulled up to the gate. "Are you sure this is where you're going, ma'am?" "Yes," Emma said quietly. "This is it." She paid the driver and helped the children out of the taxi. Standing at the gate, Emma looked up at the mansion where she had once imagined she would live as Tyler's wife. "It's a castle," Lucy exclaimed. "Big house," Logan agreed, his eyes wide. Emma took a deep breath and pressed the intercom button at the gate. When a security guard answered, she said simply, "Emma Wilson to see Tyler Harrison." The gate swung open and Emma led the children up the long driveway to the front door. With each step, her determination strengthened. These children deserved to know their father, and Tyler deserved to know them, regardless of what Patricia had told him 5 years ago. At the massive front door, Emma rang the bell. The children stood in a neat row beside her, unusually quiet, sensing the importance of the moment. The door opened to reveal an older man in a butler's uniform. His eyes widened at the sight of Emma with 4 identical children. "I need to see Tyler Harrison," Emma said firmly. "Please tell him Emma Wilson is here." The butler hesitated, clearly unsure about interrupting the party. "Mr. Harrison is busy with guests at the moment, but I can—" "Please tell him it's important," Emma insisted. The butler nodded and left them in the foyer. Emma knelt to straighten Lucas's bow tie and smooth Lily's hair, anything to keep her hands busy and calm her nerves. Inside the ballroom, Patricia was describing the charity auction items when the butler approached Tyler and whispered in his ear. Tyler's expression changed from polite boredom to shock. "Excuse me," he said to the guests around him, following the butler toward the foyer. Patricia noticed and frowned. She handed her champagne glass to a nearby guest and followed her son. "Tyler, where are you going?" "I'm about to announce—" Her words died in her throat as she entered the foyer and saw Emma standing there. But it was the 4 small children beside Emma that made Patricia stop in her tracks. Tyler stood frozen, staring at the 4 little faces that looked so much like his own baby pictures. The same blue eyes, the same chin, the same expressions. Emma stepped forward. "Hello, Tyler. It's been a long time." "Emma," Tyler whispered, his voice barely audible. "What are you? Who are—" "These are your children," Emma said calmly. "Lily, Lucy, Lucas, and Logan. They're 4 years old now." Patricia found her voice. "How dare you crash our celebration with these claims?" But Tyler couldn't look away from the children, especially the little boy who was studying him with a serious, analytical gaze that reminded him of his own reflection. Emma opened her purse and removed the envelope. "Here's everything you need to know. Birth certificates, DNA test results, photos from the day they were born until now." Tyler took the envelope with trembling hands. Behind him, party guests had begun to gather at the doorway, whispering among themselves. Vanessa stood at the back, her face pale as she watched Tyler kneel down to the children's level. "Hello," he said softly. I'm Tyler." Lucy, always the boldest, stepped forward. "Are you our daddy?" "Mommy said we have a daddy who lives far away." Tyler looked up at Emma, questions in his eyes. "Yes," Emma said. "He is your daddy." Lucas moved next to his sister. "Why didn't you come see us before?" "We're 4 now. That's a long time." Tyler struggled to find words. I didn't know about you. I didn't know you were born." Patricia stepped forward. "This is ridiculous. We are in the middle of a party. Our guests—" "Can go home," William Harrison said firmly, appearing behind his wife. "Family matters take precedence." The guests, sensing the drama, began making excuses to leave. The butler helped collect coats and called for drivers. Within 20 minutes, the ballroom had emptied except for Vanessa, who remained standing in the doorway, watching the scene unfold. Tyler was still kneeling before the children, examining their faces with wonder. Logan had begun exploring the Christmas tree while Lily shyly hid behind Emma's legs. Lucas continued to ask direct questions, and Lucy chattered about their airplane ride. "They're really mine?" Tyler asked Emma quietly. "Yes," Emma replied. "Quadruplets." The doctor was as surprised as I was. Patricia had moved to a chair, her face pale. William approached Emma. "They're beautiful children," he said. "Our grandchildren." Vanessa finally stepped forward. She looked at Tyler, then at the children, and then at the ring box visible in Tyler's jacket pocket. "I think I should go," she said quietly. "Vanessa, wait." Tyler began, standing up. She shook her head. "No explanations needed, Tyler. Some things are meant to be." She glanced at Emma. "And some things aren't." With that, she collected her coat and left the mansion, her dignity intact. As the door closed behind Vanessa, an unnatural silence fell over the Harrison mansion. The kind of silence that comes after a storm, when everything has changed and no one knows what happens next. Tyler looked at the 4 children, his children, and then at Emma. the woman he had once loved and publicly humiliated based on his mother's manipulations. The woman who had raised his children alone for 4 years. "We need to talk," he said simply. The quadruplets were exhausted by the time Emma got them back to the hotel. Their excitement about meeting their father, combined with the late hour, had left them full of questions but barely able to keep their eyes open. "Is that man really our daddy?" Lucy asked as Emma helped her into pajamas. "Yes, that was your father," Emma replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "He looked sad," Lily observed quietly. "He has the same eyes as me," Lucas added, studying his own reflection in the bathroom mirror. Logan was already half asleep, but mumbled, "Will we see him again?" "Tomorrow," Emma promised. "Now everyone needs to sleep." After tucking them in, Emma sat alone in the suite's living area, her mind replaying the evening's events. Tyler's shocked face, Patricia's anger, William's surprising kindness. And Vanessa. Emma hadn't expected her dignity and grace in such a difficult moment. Emma barely slept that night. By 7 o'clock the next morning, she was already dressed and had ordered breakfast for the children when the hotel phone rang. "Miss Wilson? This is the front desk. Mr. Tyler Harrison is here asking to see you." Emma took a deep breath. "Please tell him we'll meet him in the lobby in 30 minutes. She woke the children and helped them dress in the outfits she had packed for today, matching blue sweaters and jeans. "Your father is downstairs," she explained as she brushed Lily's hair. "He wants to spend time with you today." "Yay!" Lucy cheered, jumping on the bed. "Is his castle too small for us to stay there?" Lucas asked. Emma smiled despite her nervousness. "It's not a castle, Lucas. And we're staying here because this is where we're comfortable." When they reached the lobby, Tyler was waiting by the fireplace. He looked tired, as if he hadn't slept either. He wore casual clothes, jeans and a sweater instead of the formal attire from last night. He stood when he saw them. "Good morning." "Good morning," Emma replied formally. The children studied Tyler with curious expressions until Lucy broke the silence. "Hi, Daddy." "I'm Lucy. I remembered your name. It's Tyler." Tyler knelt to her level. "That's right, Lucy. I'm very happy to meet you." "I'm Logan," her brother introduced himself. "I'm the fastest runner." "I'm Lily," the shyest quadruplet said softly. Lucas stepped forward last. "I'm Lucas. Why weren't you at our birthday parties?" Tyler looked up at Emma, clearly unsure how to answer. She gave a small nod, encouraging him to be honest but careful. "I didn't know about your birthday parties," Tyler said. "If I had known about you, I would have been there." "Would you like to spend the day together?" Tyler asked, addressing all of them. "I thought we could visit a park I used to love when I was little." Emma nodded. "That sounds nice." They took Tyler's car to Bruce Park. Fresh snow covered the ground, and the children ran ahead excitedly. Emma walked beside Tyler, maintaining a careful distance. "They're amazing," Tyler said, watching Logan climb the playground equipment. "So different from each other." "Yes," Emma agreed. "They've been that way since they were babies." Lucy never stops talking. Lily notices everything but keeps it to herself. Lucas has to understand how everything works, and Logan never stops moving. Tyler watched as Lucas carefully examined a pine cone, studying its structure with intense concentration. "He's like me," Tyler said quietly. "Yes," Emma acknowledged. "He is." He asks questions that surprise his preschool teachers. Tyler turned to watch Lily, who was drawing shapes in the snow with a stick. "And she's artistic?" Emma nodded. "She loves drawing and colors. She can mix paints to create exactly the shade she wants." "Lucy certainly isn't shy," Tyler observed as the little girl chatted with an elderly couple walking their dog. "She makes friends everywhere we go. She's never met a stranger." Logan ran over to them. "Daddy, can you push me on the swing?" Tyler looked surprised at being called Daddy so quickly, but nodded. Of course. Emma watched as Tyler pushed Logan on the swing, then helped Lucas build a snow fort, admired Lily's snow drawing, and listened patiently to Lucy's long story about their cat back home in Portland. He was good with them, patient and attentive. After an hour at the park, Tyler suggested hot chocolate. "There's a Starbucks nearby," he said. "Would that be okay?" At the coffee shop, the six of them squeezed around a table. The children sipped hot chocolate topped with whipped cream, leaving white mustaches on their upper lips. "Do you have kids at your house?" Lucas asked Tyler directly. "No," Tyler replied. "I don't have any other children." "Why didn't you visit us in Portland?" Lucas continued. Tyler glanced at Emma before answering. "I didn't know you were in Portland. I didn't know about you at all until yesterday." "Why not?" Lucas pressed. Emma intervened. "Lucas, sometimes grown-up things are complicated. Your father didn't know about you because we weren't together when you were born." "But you're our daddy," Lucy said to Tyler. "Didn't you want to be our daddy?" Tyler's eyes filled with tears. "If I had known about you, I would have wanted to be your daddy very much." While the children were distracted by their hot chocolate, Tyler spoke quietly to Emma. "They're incredible. You've done an amazing job raising them." "Thank you," Emma said. "They're my whole world." Meanwhile, at the Harrison mansion, Patricia sat in the living room staring at the Christmas tree. The previous night's disastrous party had ended with Tyler driving Emma and the children back to their hotel, then returning to confront his mother. He had barely spoken to her before going to his apartment. The doorbell rang, and the butler answered it. A moment later, Vanessa entered the living room. "Patricia, I thought we should talk," Vanessa said. Patricia stood. "Vanessa, dear, last night was a terrible misunderstanding. Tyler is just confused." "No, he isn't," Vanessa interrupted gently. She reached into her purse and pulled out a small velvet box. "I think you should keep this." "Tyler never actually gave it to me." Patricia stared at the ring box. "You can't be serious. You're not going to let some kindergarten teacher and her children ruin everything we planned?" "Those are Tyler's children," Vanessa said. "Anyone with eyes can see that. And Emma isn't just some teacher. She's their mother." She placed the ring box on the coffee table. "Tyler has never looked at me the way he looked at those children last night. Or at Emma." After Vanessa left, Patricia sat alone again until William entered the room. "Was that Vanessa I saw leaving?" he asked. Patricia nodded. She returned the ring. "This is a disaster, William." William sat beside his wife. "No, Patricia. The disaster was 5 years ago when we let our son walk away from the woman he loved because you thought she wasn't good enough." "I was protecting him," Patricia insisted. "You were controlling him," William corrected. "And now he's missed the first 4 years of his children's lives because of it." Later that afternoon, Tyler invited Emma and the children to his penthouse apartment in downtown Greenwich. The spacious rooms had expensive furniture but few personal touches. No photos, no mementos, nothing that showed who Tyler really was. The children explored while Tyler and Emma talked in the kitchen. "I'm sorry," Tyler said suddenly, "for everything, for not believing you, for what happened at the church." Emma nodded but didn't respond immediately. "My mother convinced me the baby wasn't mine," Tyler continued. "She said the timing was too convenient, that you were trying to trap me. I was a fool to believe her." "Yes, you were," Emma agreed. "I should have trusted you. I should have trusted what we had." Emma looked toward the living room, where the quadruplets were examining Tyler's large television. "I didn't come here for apologies, Tyler. I came because the children deserve to know who their father is." "What can I do now?" Tyler asked. "I want to be part of their lives." "That's up to you," Emma said. "I won't keep them from you. But I also won't force a relationship that isn't genuine." Tyler nodded. "What about tomorrow?" "It's Christmas Eve. Would you bring them to the mansion for dinner? My parents, especially my mother, need to meet their grandchildren properly." Emma hesitated. Patricia hasn't exactly been welcoming in the past. "She'll behave," Tyler promised. "Dad is already in love with them. And Mom? She'll come around." "Please, Emma, it's Christmas." Emma watched her children, their children, playing together in Tyler's living room. They deserved a complete family, even if it wasn't the traditional kind. "All right," she agreed. "We'll come for Christmas Eve dinner." "Thank you," Tyler said. When they left Tyler's apartment, he knelt to hug each child goodbye. Lucas held on the longest. "Will you come back to Portland with us?" he asked. "I don't know yet," Tyler answered honestly, "but I promise I'll see you again very soon." As Emma led the children to the elevator, she wondered if she was making the right decision by bringing them to the Harrison mansion tomorrow. Patricia had caused so much pain in the past. Could she really trust that things would be different now? But as Lucy happily recounted everything Daddy had said, and Logan demonstrated how Daddy had helped him build a snow fort, Emma knew she had to give them this chance. For the children's sake, she would face Patricia Harrison once more. Christmas Eve morning brought fresh snow to Greenwich. At the Harrison mansion, Patricia was already awake at 6 o'clock, directing the household staff with unusual intensity. "The table settings need to be perfect," she instructed the housekeeper. "Use the good china, but also make sure we have child-sized cups for the children." The housekeeper nodded. "Yes, Mrs. Harrison." Patricia moved to the large family room where a second Christmas tree stood. Unlike the formal tree in the foyer, this one had colorful ornaments and twinkling lights. "Make sure there are plenty of presents under this tree," Patricia told the butler. "I purchased gifts for each child." Upstairs, William Harrison pulled a dusty box from the attic. Inside were old Christmas ornaments, including handmade ones from Tyler's childhood. "Patricia, look what I found," William said, entering the family room. "Tyler's ornaments from elementary school. I thought the children might like to see what their father made at their age." Patricia took a clay star painted with uneven gold glitter. "He made this when he was 5, she said quietly. "They're his children, Patricia," William said gently. "Our grandchildren. They deserve to know their heritage." Patricia nodded, her expression softening. "I'm trying, William." At the hotel, Emma helped the quadruplets dress in their Christmas outfits. Red velvet dresses for the girls with matching hairbands and green sweaters with red bow ties for the boys. "Are we going to Daddy's castle again?" Lucy asked excitedly. "It's not a castle, it's just a very big house," Emma explained. "And yes, we're having Christmas Eve dinner there." "Will there be presents?" Logan asked. "I don't know," Emma said honestly. "We'll have our own Christmas tomorrow morning here at the hotel." "But Santa comes tonight," Lucas pointed out. "Will he know we're at the big house?" Emma smiled. "Santa can find children wherever they are." The phone rang. Tyler was in the lobby, ready to escort them to the mansion. When they came downstairs, he was waiting with 4 small gift bags. "Merry Christmas Eve," he said with a smile. "I have something special for each of you." The children gathered around excitedly as Tyler knelt to their level. He gave each child a small, wrapped box from the bags. "These are family treasures," he explained. "Things that belong to my family that I want you to have." Lucas opened his box first, revealing a small antique compass. "What is it?" he asked, studying the metal object. "It's a compass," Tyler explained. "It helps you find your way. It belonged to my grandfather, who was an explorer." Logan received a small baseball, worn with age. "This was my grandfather's lucky baseball. He caught it at a New York Yankees game when he was 10 years old." The girls each received delicate silver bracelets. "These belong to my grandmother," Tyler told them. "She was a very special lady who would have loved you both." Emma watched as the children examined their gifts with wonder. Tyler had chosen something specifically suited to each child's personality. "That was thoughtful," she said quietly. Tyler nodded. I missed so many birthdays and Christmases. I can't make up for that, but I want them to have something with history." When they arrived at the Harrison mansion, Patricia opened the door herself instead of waiting for the butler. She wore a simple green dress rather than her usual formal attire. "Welcome," she said, making visible effort to smile. "Please come in out of the cold." The children stared up at her cautiously, staying close to Emma. "Hello," Lucy said finally. "Are you our grandmother?" Patricia knelt down despite her designer dress. "Yes, I am. You can call me Grandma Patricia." "I'm Lucy. This is Lily and Lucas and Logan." Lucy introduced them all. "We're quadruplets. That means we were all born on the same day." "Yes, I know," Patricia said. "I've been very excited to meet all of you." "Would you like to see the Christmas tree? I put some special presents underneath just for you." The children followed Patricia into the family room, where the colorful tree stood surrounded by wrapped gifts. Their eyes widened at the sight. "This is your tree," Patricia explained. "When your father was little, he had his own tree in this room too." William entered, smiling broadly at the children. "Hello again. I'm Grandpa William. I have something special to show you." He opened the box of ornaments he had found earlier. "These are ornaments your daddy made when he was your age. Would you like to hang them on your tree?" Soon the children were decorating the lower branches of the tree with Tyler's childhood ornaments while the adults watched. "You've done an amazing job with them, Emma," William said. "They're wonderful children." "Thank you," Emma replied. Patricia stood awkwardly nearby until she finally approached Emma. "The dining room is ready whenever everyone is hungry." The formal dining room had been transformed. While still elegant with its crystal chandelier and mahogany table, Patricia had added colorful place settings for the children, complete with their names written on Christmas cards. As they sat down to dinner, Lucas studied Patricia with serious eyes. Finally, during a pause in conversation, he asked directly, "Why didn't you want us before?" The table fell silent. Emma started to intervene, but Patricia held up her hand. "It's a fair question," she said to Emma before turning to Lucas. "I made a terrible mistake, Lucas. I thought your mommy wasn't the right person for your daddy, and I said mean things that weren't true. I was wrong, and because of me, your daddy didn't know about you until now." The simple honesty of her answer seemed to satisfy Lucas, who nodded and returned to his dinner. After the meal, the children played with their new toys while the adults had coffee in the kitchen. Patricia approached Emma privately. "I need to say something to you," Patricia began, her voice uncharacteristically emotional. "I was wrong about you, Emma. I judged you unfairly because you weren't from our social circle. I convinced Tyler not to trust you, and I cost all of us, especially these children, precious time together." Emma was surprised by Patricia's directness. "Yes, you did. I'm not asking for forgiveness," Patricia continued. "I don't deserve that, but I am asking for a chance to know my grandchildren." Before Emma could respond, William joined them. "Emma, there's something you should know. I had a heart scare 3 months ago. Nothing serious in the end, but it made me reevaluate what matters in life. Family is everything. Not money, not social status, just family." Later, as evening approached, William sat at the piano in the living room and began to play Christmas carols. The children gathered around and Tyler taught them the words to Jingle Bells and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Emma watched from the doorway, struck by how natural they looked together. Tyler had the same expressions as Lucas, the same laugh as Lucy. They belonged together, even if the path to this moment had been painful. As bedtime approached, Patricia surprised everyone by bringing out 5 Christmas stockings. "I had these made today," she explained, showing the children their names embroidered on each stocking. "In our family, we hang stockings on Christmas Eve for Santa to fill." The children excitedly hung their stockings on the fireplace mantel, then said goodnight to their grandparents. "Will you come back tomorrow?" William asked. "We're staying at the hotel," Emma explained. but maybe we could visit in the afternoon." As they prepared to leave, Tyler asked Emma to step onto the terrace for a moment. Outside, the night was clear and cold, Christmas lights twinkling in the garden. "Thank you for today," Tyler said. "Seeing them here in the house where I grew up, it means everything." Emma nodded. They seemed happy. "Emma," Tyler said hesitantly, "I need you to know something. I never stopped loving you. Not really. I buried those feelings because I thought I had to, but they never went away." Emma looked away. "Tyler, that's not why I came here. I came for the children." "I know," he said quickly, "and I understand if you can never forgive me, but I want to be part of their lives, whatever way you'll allow." "We'll figure it out," Emma said carefully. "For the children's sake, we need to build some kind of relationship. But I don't know what that looks like yet." Tyler nodded. "That's fair. One day at a time." As they returned inside to collect the children, Emma watched Tyler help Logan with his coat and Lily with her mittens. The ease between them was undeniable, as if they were making up for lost time. When they arrived back at the hotel, the children were nearly asleep on their feet. As Emma tucked them into bed, Lucy murmured, "I like having a daddy." "Me too," Lily whispered. Emma turned off the light and sat in the darkness of their hotel room, thinking about the day's events. Patricia's sincere apology, William's warmth, Tyler's confession. After 5 years of being the only parent her children knew, Emma now faced the complicated reality of sharing them with a father who wanted to be part of their lives, and his family who now wanted to know them. The future she had carefully planned in Portland suddenly seemed uncertain. Christmas morning arrived with excitement as the quadruplets woke early in the hotel's suite, rushing to see if Santa had visited them. "He found us!" Logan shouted, discovering presents arranged near the small hotel Christmas tree Emma had set up. Emma smiled as she watched her children tear into their gifts. Despite being far from home in Portland, this Christmas felt special in a new way. Later that morning, they visited the Harrison mansion again, where more presents waited. The day passed in a blur of wrapping paper, holiday food, and new family connections. The following day, Tyler surprised Emma by canceling his return to a business conference in Boston. "The Philadelphia contract can wait," he told Emma when he called. "I want to spend this week with the children." "Don't you have to work?" Emma asked. "Nothing is more important than this," Tyler replied. "I've missed 4 years already." Tyler rented a suite at the Delamar Hotel just down the hall from Emma and the children. Each morning he arrived with plans for the day. On Wednesday he took them sledding at Binney Park. Emma watched from a bench as Tyler pulled Lily and Lucy on a long sled while Lucas and Logan raced down the small hill on separate sleds. Tyler laughed as Logan crashed into a snowbank, immediately rushing over to dust him off and set him right again. "Look at me, Mommy!" Lucy called as Tyler pulled her across the snow. That afternoon, Tyler helped Lucas build a complex Lego space station in the hotel's suite. Emma observed how patiently Tyler answered each of Lucas's detailed questions about how space stations worked. "You see this part here?" Tyler explained, pointing to a section of the LEGO model. "This is where astronauts would dock their spacecraft." Lucas nodded seriously. "I want to build real space stations when I grow up." The next day, Lily announced she was having an art show in the hotel room. She had created dozens of drawings and wanted to display them. Tyler took the task seriously, using tape to hang each picture at perfect height on the walls of the suite. "This is my favorite," Tyler told Lily, pointing to a colorful drawing of 5 stick figures holding hands. "Is this our family?" Lily nodded shyly. "That's you and Mommy and me and Lucy and Lucas and Logan. That's 6 people," Emma pointed out gently. "We're a big family," Lily said simply. Later that week, the hotel manager smiled tolerantly as Tyler played indoor soccer with Logan in the hallway outside their suites, using a soft foam ball to avoid damage. "You're really good," Tyler told Logan as the boy dribbled the ball between Tyler's feet. Did you play soccer in Portland? Mommy signed us up for soccer last summer, Logan explained. I scored 3 goals. Emma watched these interactions from a distance, noting how Tyler made special time for each child, connecting with them individually. He seemed to instinctively understand what each one needed: patience for Lucas's questions, gentle encouragement for Lily's art, an audience for Lucy's stories, and physical activity for Logan's energy. On Friday evening, Patricia called to invite them all to a casual dinner at the mansion. Nothing fancy, she assured Emma on the phone, just family. When they arrived, Emma noticed Patricia had set the table with colorful everyday dishes instead of the formal china they had used on Christmas Eve. The dining room lights were brighter, making the space feel less formal. Patricia showed the children a photo album she had compiled. These are pictures of your daddy when he was your age, she explained, sitting on the floor with them in the family room. The children gathered around, pointing and giggling at photos of Tyler as a little boy. You looked like Lucas, Lucy exclaimed. I think Logan has my smile, Tyler said, looking at a childhood photo of himself on a bicycle. After dinner, William brought out a chess set and began teaching the quadruplets basic moves. The knight moves in an L shape like this, he demonstrated for Lucas, who caught on quickly. My turn, Logan insisted, moving pieces incorrectly but with enthusiasm. As the children played with William, Tyler took Emma aside in the garden, despite the cold. I've been thinking about our situation, he said. I want to be part of their lives, not just visiting occasionally, but really involved. Tyler, our lives are in Portland, Emma reminded him. My business, their preschool, our home. I know, Tyler said. That's why I've decided to open a branch of Harrison Properties in Portland. I can split my time between both coasts at first, and eventually relocate permanently. Emma stared at him. You'd move across the country? For them, absolutely. Tyler hesitated before adding, and maybe someday we could… Tyler, Emma interrupted gently, I appreciate that you want to be involved with the children. They deserve that. But you and I, that's a different story. You hurt me deeply. Trust isn't rebuilt overnight. Tyler nodded. I understand. I'm not asking for anything more than co-parenting right now. I just want you to know that I'm committed to making this work. The following morning, Emma agreed to meet Patricia alone at a small cafe in downtown Greenwich. She felt nervous as she entered, spotting Tyler's mother already seated at a corner table. Thank you for coming, Patricia said as Emma sat down. Tyler doesn't know I'm here, Emma replied. I thought we should talk, just the two of us. Patricia nodded. You're right. She took a deep breath. Emma, I need to explain why I did what I did 5 years ago, not to excuse it, but so you understand. I'm listening, Emma said. I grew up with nothing, Patricia revealed. My family was poor. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through college. When I met William and entered this world of wealth and privilege, I was determined my children would never feel like outsiders the way I did. Emma was surprised by this revelation. When Tyler brought you home, I saw myself. The outsider, Patricia continued. I convinced myself I was protecting him, but really I was protecting the world I had worked so hard to be accepted into. You judged me without knowing me, Emma said. Yes, Patricia admitted, and I've regretted it every day since seeing those children. They're perfect, Emma. You've raised them beautifully despite what I did to you. Meanwhile, at Harrison Properties headquarters, Tyler called an emergency meeting with his executive team. The board members exchanged concerned glances as Tyler announced his plans. I'm opening a West Coast headquarters in Portland, Oregon, Tyler stated firmly. And I'll be relocating there myself within the next 6 months. But the Boston expansion, one executive began, will continue as planned, Tyler assured him. But my priorities have changed. I recently discovered I have 4 children living in Portland. The announcement created a stir around the table until William stood up. "I'll be stepping back in temporarily to oversee East Coast operations," William said. "This company has always been about family, and right now, my son needs to be with his children." After the meeting, Tyler returned to his apartment to begin making plans. A knock at the door surprised him. When he opened it, Vanessa stood there. "Vanessa," Tyler said, startled. "I didn't expect to see you." "I wanted to talk," she said. "May I come in?" Tyler invited her inside. Vanessa looked around the apartment, noticing the children's toys now scattered on his usually pristine coffee table. "You're already a father," she observed with a small smile. "I'm trying to be," Tyler admitted. "That's why I came," Vanessa said. "I wanted you to know I understand. Those children need you, and you need them." "I'm sorry about how everything happened," Tyler said. Vanessa shook her head. "Don't be. Some things aren't meant to be." She smiled genuinely. "I wish you well, Tyler. Really." On their final day in Greenwich, Tyler took Emma and the children to Todd's Point Beach, the place where he had proposed to Emma years ago. Despite the winter cold, the children enjoyed collecting shells along the shoreline. As they watched the quadruplets play, Tyler and Emma sat on a bench discussing practical matters. "I found a house in Portland's Irvington neighborhood," Tyler told her. "About 10 minutes from yours. I'll close on it next month and start renovations immediately." "The children will be happy to have you nearby," Emma said. "We should establish a regular schedule," Tyler suggested. "Maybe I could have them 3 days a week and we could do Sunday dinners together as a family." "That sounds reasonable," Emma agreed. "They need stability and routine." "What about you, Emma?" Tyler asked quietly. "What do you need?" Emma watched her children, their children, playing by the water's edge. "Time," she said finally. "I need time to trust again. Not just you, but this whole situation." Tyler nodded. "I understand. We'll take it one day at a time for them." As they gathered the children to leave, Lucas asked the question they'd all been wondering. "Are you coming home with us to Portland, Daddy?" Tyler knelt to look Lucas in the eyes. "Not right away, buddy. But very soon I'm going to have a house near yours in Portland, and you'll be able to stay with me sometimes, just like you stay with Mommy." "Will Grandma and Grandpa come too?" Lucy asked. "They'll visit," Tyler promised, glancing at Emma, who nodded in agreement. As they boarded the plane back to Portland the next day, Emma reflected on how much had changed in 1 week. They had arrived in Greenwich as a single-parent family with no connections to their past. They were returning as something different, a family with a father, grandparents, and a history that the children would now be part of. Tyler stood at the airport gate waving as they boarded. "I'll see you in 3 weeks, he promised. "I'm coming to help set up the house." Emma nodded, guiding the children onto the plane. As they found their seats, Lucy announced loudly to the passenger next to her, "We found our daddy in Connecticut. Now he's coming to live near us in Portland." Emma smiled apologetically at the stranger, then settled back for the long flight home, wondering what this new chapter of their lives would bring. The first few weeks after returning to Portland felt like adjusting to a new reality. Emma resumed her business operations, the children returned to preschool, and life established a new rhythm, but now with daily video calls to Tyler in Connecticut. "When are you coming to see us, Daddy?" Lucy would ask during each call. "Soon," Tyler promised. "I'm getting everything ready." True to his word, 3 weeks after their return, Tyler arrived in Portland with suitcases full of business plans and children's gifts. He stayed at a downtown hotel while house hunting and setting up his West Coast office. 6 months passed quickly. Spring flowers bloomed, then summer sunshine warmed Portland's streets. The quadruplets celebrated their 5th birthday, growing taller and more independent each day. On a bright June morning, Emma stood inside her newly opened Four Little Blessings store in downtown Portland. The bright, airy space displayed her children's clothing designs on miniature mannequins and colorful racks. The grand opening exceeded our sales projections by 40%. her assistant reported. Emma nodded, admiring the store she had built from nothing. What had started as late-night sewing sessions during feedings now employed 12 people. Across town in Portland's Pearl District, Tyler sat in his new office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Family photos now covered his desk, pictures of the quadruplets at the park, at their preschool graduation, and playing in his backyard. "The Seattle developer is waiting in the conference room," his assistant reminded him. Tyler checked his watch. "I need to finish by 3 o'clock. I'm picking up the kids from school today." His routine had become established over the past months. The children stayed with him from Wednesday afternoon until Saturday morning each week, plus Sunday family dinners with Emma present. His house, a spacious modern home just 10 minutes from Emma's Selwood neighborhood, had 4 children's bedrooms decorated to each child's preferences. That afternoon, Tyler waited outside the Selwood Community Center where the quadruplets now attended kindergarten. When the doors opened, 4 excited 5-year-olds ran toward him. "Daddy!" Logan reached him first, jumping into Tyler's arms. "We learned about frogs today," Lucas informed him seriously. "I drew you a picture," Lily said, handing him a colorful drawing. "Can we have ice cream?" Lucy asked hopefully. Tyler loaded them into his SUV, now equipped with 4 booster seats and a collection of toys. "Who wants to help set up the tent in the backyard tonight?" "Me!" all 4 shouted in unison. Tyler had embraced fatherhood completely, learning each child's needs through dedicated attention. He helped Lucas build intricate Lego structures, attended Lily's art classes with her, kicked soccer balls with Logan for hours, and patiently answered Lucy's endless questions about everything. Meanwhile, Emma adjusted to sharing parental responsibilities. The first time the children stayed overnight at Tyler's house, she had barely slept, checking her phone constantly. Now she enjoyed her child-free evenings, using the time to design new clothing lines and occasionally meet friends. The biggest surprise came in July when Patricia Harrison called Emma directly. "I've sold the Greenwich Mansion," Patricia announced. "I've purchased a craftsman home in Portland's Irvington neighborhood." Emma nearly dropped the phone. "You're moving to Portland?" "I've missed too much time with my grandchildren already," Patricia explained. "William will join me for extended visits, but he's not ready to leave Connecticut permanently." 2 weeks later, Patricia arrived at Portland International Airport with 12 suitcases and a determined expression. Emma watched cautiously as the older woman toured her new house, just 15 minutes from both Emma and Tyler. "It's quite different from what I'm used to," Patricia admitted, examining the modest but elegant craftsman home. "But it feels right." Emma remained skeptical of Patricia's transformation until she witnessed her former enemy volunteering at the children's school art fair. "Grandma, look at my painting!" Lily called out, leading Patricia to a display of kindergarten artwork. "It's beautiful, darling," Patricia said, genuinely admiring the colorful creation. "Should we hang it in my new house?" The children quickly adapted to having their grandmother nearby, especially when they discovered she always kept their favorite snacks on hand and had endless patience for board games. "She's really trying," Tyler told Emma after watching Patricia spend an entire afternoon helping Logan build a model airplane. "This isn't an act." William visited monthly as promised. His color improved and energy higher since reducing his workload. "Retirement agrees with me," he told Emma during a visit, "and these little ones keep me young." The children loved their grandfather's visits, especially Lucas, who would sit for hours playing chess with William. "Check," Lucas announced during one game, moving his knight precisely. William raised his eyebrows, genuinely surprised. "Well played, young man." By October, a new family pattern had emerged. Movie nights on Fridays alternated between houses. Sunday hikes in Forest Park became a tradition, with all 4 adults taking turns helping the children over fallen logs and identifying plants along the trail. The quadruplets' 6th birthday fell on a perfect autumn Saturday. Tyler hosted the party in his backyard, complete with a bounce house, pony rides, and a cake shaped like a space station, Lucas's current obsession. Emma arrived early to help set up, surprised to find Patricia already there, arranging party favors with meticulous care. "I hope the weather holds," Patricia fretted, glancing at clouds in the distance. The children have been so excited about the pony rides. In the kitchen, Lily stood on a step stool beside Patricia, carefully decorating cupcakes with colorful frosting. "Look, Mommy," Lily called. "Grandma is teaching me how to make frosting flowers." Emma watched as Patricia patiently guided Lily's small hand, helping her squeeze the frosting bag with just the right pressure. The woman who had once spilled wine on Emma's dress now wore an apron covered in sprinkles, completely focused on making her granddaughter happy. The party was a success, with 20 kindergarten friends running through Tyler's backyard while parents chatted over coffee. As evening approached and the last guests departed, Emma found herself sitting beside Tyler on his back porch. The children were inside watching a movie with Patricia and Maria, who had become friends despite their different backgrounds. "I've been seeing a therapist," Tyler said suddenly, breaking the comfortable silence. Emma turned to him, surprised by the admission. "I needed to understand why I let my mother control me," he continued. "Why I was so quick to believe the worst about you instead of trusting what we had." "That's good, Tyler," Emma said genuinely. "It takes courage to examine yourself like that." "I know we can't go back," Tyler said, "but I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of their lives despite what I did." Emma nodded. "You're a good father. The children adore you." "And you're an amazing mother," Tyler replied. "What you've built for them, both your business and their sense of security, it's remarkable." As summer turned to fall, the family gathered for Thanksgiving dinner at Emma's house. William flew in for the occasion, and Maria joined them as well. The table was crowded with dishes, including Patricia's first attempt at homemade rolls, slightly overcooked but proudly served. During the meal, Lucas surprised everyone by raising his water glass. "I want to make a toast," he announced with the seriousness only a 6-year-old could muster. The adults exchanged amused glances but raised their glasses. "To our family," Lucas said clearly. "We're different, but good." Emma felt tears in her eyes at the simple truth of his words. Their family was different. 2 separate households, parents who weren't together, a grandmother who had once been the villain in their story but was now taking cooking classes to prepare their favorite meals. Yet somehow, it worked. The children were thriving with the stability of their new arrangement. Tyler had become the father they deserved. Patricia had transformed from rigid socialite to doting grandmother who volunteered at school events. William visited regularly, his health improving with each trip, and Emma herself had found an unexpected peace. While she and Tyler maintained separate lives romantically, they had become true partners in parenting. The anger and hurt that once defined their relationship had gradually transformed into mutual respect and even friendship. That night, after the dishes were cleaned and the visitors had gone home, Emma tucked her sleepy children into bed. "Mommy," Lily said as Emma kissed her forehead, "I like our family." "Me too," Emma whispered. Standing in the hallway between her children's rooms, Emma reflected on the journey from that humiliating day at St. Mary's Church to this moment of contentment. The path had been difficult, with heartbreak and lonely nights and impossible challenges, but it had led here, to 4 beautiful children sleeping peacefully, secure in the knowledge they were loved by both parents. Their family story hadn't followed a traditional script, but perhaps it was better for having been rewritten. What mattered wasn't how they had started, but who they had become along the way. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen.